All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get her going here. Start me off. Where to bid to go? Have it like $1,000. Open it up.
How to buy property with delinquent taxes. Welcome back. I'm Ted Thomas. I've been involved in tax defaulted property for the past 30 years as a guide and an author. Every county has a different process for tax sales. The place to start is the auction rules and with the auction announcements. Next, continue your homework by researching and determining the property's condition and what is the neighborhood like. After all, you can change the property, but you're not going to be able to change the neighborhood. Simultaneously, you should be researching the title. It's very important. The properties are sold and no one is guaranteeing the title. By that I mean when you buy from the county, they're not guaranteeing that there's no defects in the title. So simultaneously, you should be researching the title. Go to a title company or hire an experienced attorney to help you out researching the title. Now, if you're satisfied with the property and you're satisfied with the neighborhood, now proceed and make sure you get the title clear and you know it's going to be okay before you do any bidding. Now, this assumes that you've already found a property with a starting bid that's within your budget. Now, what we're talking about today in this episode is all about is how to buy a property with delinquent taxes. So I'm giving you the step-by-step process to do this, so you'll probably go back and listen to this video a number of times. Now, the county will have a starting bid price, which you can research. From there, you want to move to the neighborhood and see that that neighborhood is going to be okay. People buy the neighborhood. Yes, I know you want to sell the property, but if the neighborhood isn't good, you can fix the property up all you want, but you've got to figure out, is that property going to sell for what you think it's going to sell for in that neighborhood? You're going to make your money on margin. In other words, we're going to try and buy low, and we're going to try to sell below the tax assessed value. All right, the whole key to this business is if you can buy it right, you're going to be delighted with what you're doing, but you're going to have to buy it right so that you can sell it and sell it quickly. If you have to hold on to properties for long periods of time, it gets very expensive. So we're talking about margin. The margin means is the difference between your buying price and your selling price, okay? Now, auctions can be pretty darn intimidating.
How about to go there? How about to go there? How about to go where? How about to go here? How about to go here? How about now? How about to go?
Now, a lot of newcomers go to the auction as well as experienced people. But I watch the experienced people, they overbid on a regular basis. You don't want to overbid at these auctions. So that means you must know your exit strategy. So understand the selling process means that you understand that you're going to sell a property and what you're going to sell it for. Keep in mind, we're doing business with used and abused properties. The winning bidder, once they won the bid, they must move ahead and secure the property. You now own the property. Don't just go home and forget that you own it. You must take care of it right away and make sure that you've secured the property. All right, now tax defaulted properties are available across the United States. All 3,000 plus counties will have tax defaulted properties. Now, many of these auctions are conducted on the courthouse steps. Many of them are conducted online. So it's a process. You must learn the process. You need to go step by step through this process. All right, now, I didn't invent all this. The legislature in each one of the states makes the rules for the state. And they make the rules for the auctions, and then the Board of Supervisors and county commissioners must follow the rules that the legislature mandates. All right, these are all mandated rules, and they must be followed. So what's going to happen with the property owners, if they haven't paid their property tax, the county treasurer is going to issue many notices of default. All right, that's called due process of law. All right, what are we talking about today? How to buy property with delinquent taxes. If the property owner does not pay the taxes, the official county treasurer will use due process and they will confiscate the property. That means they're going to take it away from the property owner. When they do that, so they can resell it at auction. Now, when they resell it at auction, they're going to sell it for the past due taxes. All right, so that's going to be way below the tax assessed value. I'll be right back and give you more details on that. All right, now the property auction is going to go to the highest bidder. It's going to start out at very close to the back taxes because the county wants that tax money to pay their bills. All right. However, the auction can go to the highest bidder. So that these are public auctions, sometimes right on the courthouse steps, sometimes they're online, but the property is always sold to the highest bidder. All right, so what am I talking about today? We're talking about how to buy property at delinquent auctions. First of all, you have to make sure that you have boots on the ground and you look at that property. Even though it starts out at the minimum bid, it might not sell for the minimum bid. If it does, well, more power to you. If you can buy at that price, you're going to have a nice margin because you bought it low. Now you can sell it low. You'll have a margin, and you can do all that very quickly. Tax defaulted real estate is available in all 3,000 counties across the United States. All right, now when the auction's taking place, if there's no bidders, the auctioneer, which will be a representative of the treasurer or the treasurer or some county employee, is allowed to change the pricing. In other words, they could reduce the price. Now, don't plan on it, but many of my students understand that ruling, and so when the auction goes through and there's no bids, they'll ask them to re-auction it, and they'll probably lower the price on it. It happens on a regular basis, but don't plan on it. Know ahead of time exactly what you're willing to pay because you know what you're going to sell it for. All right, now, I include some interesting examples in some of these videos as I do them. I think you'll find the next example that really works out. You're going to see how well people do and how much money they really can make. So in a local county with a small population, it was a rural county just north of Tampa, Florida, one of the students purchased a single-family home that was used and abused. As a matter of fact, it was completely covered with trees, and most of the investors that go to the auction didn't even look at it. However, they purchased the property for $9,100. You might want to remember that number. They purchased the property for $9,100. Now, as I said, it was used and abused. It was a single-family home. It was certainly overgrown with trees. All right, now the tax assessed value of the property was $91,000. All right, so purchase price was $9,100. It's now tax assessed at $9,100. Now, using techniques that the student learned in the classes, he went out and looked at other properties and found out comparables were in the neighborhood of $150,000. All right, but they'd already spent the $9,000. All right, the property was worth $91,000. So what did? They sold it. They sold it to a tenant, a handyman that wanted to take over the property and start fixing it up. Now, the handyman, in order to buy the property, needed to have an installment sale. So the installment sale was this: $5,000 down and payments till $150,000 was paid off. All right, the details I won't go through now, but the point is the property was purchased for $9,100, and now it's going to be sold for $150,000. Now, is every deal that good? No, they're not all that good. But ask yourself this question: if you can make one deal just like that, how many would you want to make in your lifetime? You'd want to make a lot of them. All right, now that's just a teeny tiny glimpse of the kind of spectacular profits that can happen in the tax defaulted business. I'll show you more of those in other episodes as we go along. Here's the point: if you can buy properties for 10 and 20 cents on the dollar, and there's no mortgage and there's no deed of trust loan on the property, how many would you want to buy? You certainly want to buy as many as you could afford, and you might start gathering money to do as many as possible. Now, if you know you can buy these properties for those prices, the big key is how you're going to sell them. You want to use media to sell these properties. What am I talking about, media? You want to use eBay. You want to use Craigslist. You want to think about the multiple listing system. You want to think about Zillow. You want to think about having a realtor agent help you. You want to be doing all that, and you can do it using your computer from home. Don't forget Facebook Marketplace works too. So any electronic site, you want to take advantage of it. All right, now buying real estate has a handful of consequences. I won't have time in this video to cover them all, but I'm going to tell you, I don't give legal advice on these videos. I just try to give you a very practical advice, but there's going to be many cases you want to talk to an attorney, you want to talk to a CPA before you put the deal together. You see those little white circles? That's how many auctions are taking place within that state in the next 90 days. This calendar updates every single day. I'm here today to show you how to make money. To do that, I'm going to show you briefly that there are thousands of tax defaulted real estate properties across the 3,000 plus counties in the United States. This is quite interesting. You're looking at the Ted Thomas Magic Interactive Map and Auction Calendar. It changes every day. Now, I created the calendar and the map so I would know how many auctions are taking place every day in the United States. Now I can show the little guy how to make money. Most importantly, I created this system so I could have an auction list for each auction 24/7. In the small population counties, they're going to have dozens of these properties to sell. All right, maybe even hundreds to sell. In the large population counties, they're going to have hundreds, even thousands. I've attended auctions with over 2,000 properties to auction. This is a business you want to get involved in. All right, folks, if you're going to buy a tax defaulted auction, two major rules you must remember. Number one, you must look at the property. Put boots on the ground so you can see the condition of that property. Otherwise, have someone that you know and trust look at that property. Why? What if there was a hurricane? What if there was a fire? What if it was next to a chicken farm or a pig farm? Well, there's lots of reasons you wouldn't want to buy that property, all of which I've just stated. All right, second big rule that you want to follow, before you purchase, know what your exit strategy is. Look at that neighborhood. Know what the value is so that you can resell as we've just demonstrated. I'm Ted Thomas. I'll see you in the next video. However, if you do want an auction list, go right below me and you can register. We'll send you a free auction list. Don't forget, request your free auction list right below me.